We found that it's really critical to have all the way across the supply chain involved. We usually think about this as big companies or traders that are involved, but you have to include the producers of these agricultural commodities. They're a really important part of the solution, and they're the ones that usually have to implement the solutions that are thought up and agreed upon. So we work with roundtables that include producers, that include agricultural traders, meat packers, and also retailers who sell these products. And the push to improve the criteria for production can come from different places. We often see it from retailers who don't want to have a product on their shelves that has deforestation in it. But in the end, all the members of the supply chain have to be involved to make that happen.
And given that you have done some work in Brazil before and currently as well, so how do you see this particular job that you do in terms of ensuring that the supply chain is cleaner in terms of forests? Have you seen a change in terms of the national policies for deforestation and other mechanisms that are implicated in saving the forests, such as REDD?
Sure. There's a huge amount of progress that's been made in Brazil. It's really one of the success stories. There's still a little bit of ways to go. There's many policies that contribute to that from the government, enforcement. There's many different parts. REDD has a role in that as well. And the commodity story is really key too, because a lot of the expansion into different parts of the Amazon that didn't have agricultural land prior, it was primary forest. That was driven by the agricultural industries and people looking to have economic development in that area. So the soy moratorium was a really key thing that was extremely successful, and also the limits on deforestation from cattle ranching. And we've seen in both areas really good success so far. They're evolving. The soy moratorium was recently renewed, which is fantastic. And we're seeing that the industries collectively, this huge movement towards let's keep producing, let's invest in these areas, let's not keep expanding into forest. And we're glad to see that there's a lot of agreement around that.
And has there been a lot of push from consumers and civil society in terms of realizing what is actually implicated into producing their goods that they're consuming, and how are these producers providing that information for consumers so that they are more aware of their implications of their actions?
It's a key thing. It's often seen as a consumer push, and consumers' interest in having products that they know are free from serious environmental or social problems is absolutely critical. Sometimes it comes from outside, from the consumers. Sometimes it comes from within the supply chain itself, because companies that are interested in leading will go ahead and do that. The way that they communicate it can be through a certification, which is really important and has its role. Sometimes it's not obvious when you pick up a product on the shelf that whether or not it has deforestation in it. Certifications often are key for that. You can say, oh, okay, this one has this certification or that certification. We know it's good. Other times you don't know. It requires a little bit more awareness and knowing which companies are working on this and leading, and other times. So if it's an important thing for a consumer, and we hope that it is, this is something to put a little time into, to be aware of which companies are working better and which ones need to catch up a little bit.
And in terms of green products, there's been a lot of talk about greenwashing, and some consumers are, of course, concerned about a lot of different certifications that are saying this product is green and the footprint that it has is low. But what are the mechanisms that your company is providing and your organization is providing to ensure that the certification product is actually it's very ambitious and that it actually provides good ways for consumers to be sure that this is not greenwashed and it's actually producing some change?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of confusion. The companies that are doing a good job on it, and other companies that want to take advantage of the marketing power of green products. When you have a certification system that's audited by a third party, or if there's an NGO that in particular whose opinion you trust on that, I think that's a good way to do it. Sometimes it's very difficult to tell. You can see products that are labeled as being green and good and coming from a good source, and it's not necessarily clear. So if someone personally is interested in it, putting a little time into it, and it's confusing. It's absolutely confusing in certain areas, but really quality certifications that exist. Rainforest Alliance does a good job with this, and there are other ones out there. RSPO is the palm oil certification, which can be very advantageous. Also, the Roundtable for Responsible Soy is very good on this, and the cattle world is advancing slowly but surely. They don't have certifications. They're not planning on it in some ways, but trying to get cattle products in particular that are deforestation free is a a big challenge. We're getting there slowly but surely. But broadly, we don't yet have a certification for that, and there isn't much interest in it just yet. But look, I would say keep an eye out for progress on it. We're going to have products that are going to be deforestation free eventually, and we're getting a lot of progress on it now.